Okay, so we had a car here that needed some battery terminals. It had these on there, and I tried to clean these up a little bit, but they was really bad, and the negative one was really corroded down here. Right there's a crack in this battery. That's why the negative, and there's one over here you can't really see. But that's why the negative battery terminal got so bad off. So here's what I put on. The two wires will fit in. I don't remember what size the terminal is. But what these are solder-ons. So there's a solder pellet inside the terminal, and you heat it up, and you just get the solder hot and push the wires down in. Then what I do is take liquid tape and tape the connection good. Then I'll do it with electrical tape, and I do one more layer of liquid tape. That's just the way I was showed. That's how I do them. But let's go here and look at one of these terminals. Okay, so here's what one of them terminals look like. There are some companies, I believe, that make these inside terminals too, but they're a lot harder to find. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. I get these at our local parts store. But if you look in here, that's full of solder. Now they also make some of these that has no solder in them. But if you either take regular solder and put in there, or they sell the pellets that you can put in there. But I like these are pre-filled, so all you gotta do is put this in a vise, is what I normally do. Heat this up to solder's liquid, and I push my skinned wires right down in there. To me, I like these a lot better than like the bolt-on terminals or pretty much anything else out there. Just my preferred way. Here, let's get these wires here skinned back, and maybe we'll try to throw this in there, see if it works on camera. I'll just hold it up here, see about what I need, and then I just take a knife and go right around. Now you just want to be careful not to cut into it. Usually it comes right off, but this knife is really dull. So I want to do that on both wires, and I'll have just about the right amount sticking in. Maybe I went a little too far, but it'll be okay. So after you get them, you want to get a way to be able to kind of smash them or twist them together just a little bit. You don't want to get them distorted too much. You want to be able to make it so that you can get that right on there cleanly. Now, it usually never works quite that smooth, but that's what we're going to try. Okay, all I got is this little butane torch here doing this. You're going to want to make sure that when you get started, you want to make sure you have your wires in a position that when you get that solder hot, you can put it down in there. Now I don't know if you guys will be able to see the solder. I'll do this and you'll see the flux running up to the top. You want to make sure your solder is fully melted. That's all there is to it. They're all the way down in there as far as it'll go. You just let it cool off now. And it looks like we had all but one strand right here that went in. As you can see, I may have clipped just a little too much insulation off, but that's okay, because we're going to take some liquid black tape and electrical tape and put on here. I'm gonna let it cool for just 1 second, and then I'll get some liquid tape on there. I could have, like I say, went with just a little bit less insulation off, but we're gonna really put enough of this in there to kind of seal it up. Now, if you really wanted to get fancy on it, they do make this in red too. But I just like to get a coat of this on there and get anything sealed up that I can. And then I'll let that set for just a second, and I'll wrap some black tape around it. Okay, now that that's been on there for a minute and I got plenty in between the two wires, what I'll do is start down here with some tape. And black tape, you want to kind of keep it stretched a little as you're applying it. Now with that little knot on there, I guess it might not be the prettiest. But I like these connections a lot better than I do any of the bolt on or clamp ons or whatever. So now what I'm going to do, and like I say, I don't know, this is just the way we always done it, so I'm going to just give it another coat of brush on electric tape really quick. And then once it dries, we'll be able to install this right on the car. Now I like to try to get in between the tape here kind of full. To me it just seems like the fuller I get that, the better seal I'll have. And what I believe this is a copper terminal with zinc plated. So we're going to use these copper ones here on the other end. And I'm going to crimp it, and then I'm going to put a little solder on it. So what I like to do is just take some soldering flux and dip my wire in it and put it in the terminal, and then we'll come up here to the vise and crimp it. Okay, after I get this wire full of flux where I dipped it in the container, I'll stick it in there, and this vise here, like I say, is not open as wide. And I'm going to take a dull-ended punch and put right on here, and out here is going to be hard because my wire is going to want to slip out. Okay, now I got that punched in there and it's pretty tight. But what I'll do next is same thing. I'll put this in the vise here, and we'll heat this up with our torch and just dab a little solder in there. You just want to make sure you get that pretty full. But when you do that, it makes a very good solid connection that'll last. Now what we're going to do is let this cool off, and once it cools off, you see a little ball of solder here will knock off now while it's hot. When it's cold, I'm going to do the same thing. I'll take this liquid electric tape, go around it, a row of black tape, and then the liquid tape again. So here's what we ended up with. This is our replacement battery terminal cable. I get those from our Napa. They are about $10 a piece for that terminal with the solder in it. But to me, they were worth it. I like using them.